Well, I like suspense. I mean, I think all films about suspense. So it's wanting to know what's going to happen. So whether that's a love story or an action adventure film, it's all about suspense. So I guess I wanted to create a suspenseful film. I guess that was the basis, and I had a premise that I quite liked that lent itself to a thriller, to a suspenseful thriller. And as I said in the Q&A, I mean, I've seen lots of thrillers before that were, trying to, a man trying to find someone or something that's missing, and I liked, the premise of him looking for himself.
We needed crew, and eventually you find casting agency. Australia's really good for talent, just generally for acting talent, really good for technical talent. And we found very willing casting agents that really pulled all the stops out, and to make sure it all happened. So yeah, it actually wasn't too difficult once you start getting on the phone, really.
I guess Simon Lyndon was someone I wanted, so we approached Simon because I've basically got a belief that regardless, you just try and find the best actor, and he was the best actor that we could get, and we just went for him and got him, and really, I mean, I think Simon sort of just lifted everyone else up, so because he is the lead, he's the protagonist, and it drew everyone to him. And I mean, maybe Joe wants to talk about that, about working with Simon, how you felt about that.
Yeah, well, Simon Lyndon is a fantastic actor, and yeah, and acting is reacting. It's an actor's term, so you're working off off the people you're working with very intimately, and it's an energetic thing in a way. And he's a fantastic actor. So yeah, I think he just really galvanised everyone, because he was fully committed to every moment, and then you're fully committed, and so it was a great sort of synergy with everyone, because everyone. It wasn't a massive budget, it wasn't massive resources there, but everyone really gave their all, and it was great to be a part of. It was interesting because I make my own films, but as documentaries. So I'm very intimately involved in filmmaking myself. But for me, with this, I really came to it as an actor, and I wanted to give Shane the space and the respect to have that distinction. I really respected those boundaries, because we couldn't have functioned if there was a sort of an imbalance there. So, and I'm an actor by trade, so I immediately gang in with the actors, and then and these guys were doing a great job, and everyone was sort of banding together. But it was I was very involved from the beginning, so it was great to see it sort of come from where it came, and then to have it here now. It's really wonderful. I'm actually Shane's partner, so he had no choice but to have me in it, because I am an actor. So it was just sort of like, there was no way I wasn't going to be in the film. So it was good, because I could say, no, don't do that, do this, and have it like this.
I think the Jackie role had 2 lines originally. There's 3 producers on board, and I guess because I needed them all, essentially, so... as we've said, I mean, it was very difficult because we're in different countries when we started the process. So, and also I'd been working with Lowell for many years, and I'd been working with Joe and Jackie for many years as well. And and then also they're my friends as well. So, and it's we've been working together for a long time. So if I was going to do it, I was going to do it with these guys. As it was, poor Jackie ended up being the bedrock, the only producer on set all the time. So, and then nearly had a nervous breakdown because of it. So, so I mean, effectively, it's sharing a shift in that way. I mean, I've got an EP credit because essentially I helped get a majority of the money. So, I guess that's why I'm there as an EP. So.
And all of us had different strengths, so it kind of really worked well, because I'm more logistics. Jackie's very creative, so she was obviously involved with a lot of the bits and pieces with the actors, casting as well, through principal photography. But Lyle was the infrastructure. He set up all locations, all casting. I mean, I helped you a bit with it fundamentally, but you set it all up, and I just kind of kicked it off. Lyle just pretty much did a lot of the foundations. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
And then obviously we continued through to post. A lot of the ADR was done in Sydney. Then all sound, all vision was done in London. We did bits and pieces.
We basically all the post pretty much in London.
Yeah.
But then we did ADR in Sydney, ADR in London, ADR in LA.
The schedules, how to break down every location with each individual prop. There was so much detail because Shane wrote a script with so many locations that obviously Lyle, myself and Jackie could have killed him over. But that was just one of those things. That's how the story evolved, and that's just what he wanted. So
Well, also, strangely though, when I was writing it, I actually wrote it around 4 main locations to try to keep it cheap. I know it feels like there's a lot of locations, but when I was writing it, I actually made a conscious decision. I did. I made a conscious decision to write around 4 main locations. So, and then try to put as much space between coming back to those locations so the film felt bigger. And every time we came back to the locations, we were using that location in a different way. So there was a conscious. Fox Studios in Sydney actually had a plane set, and they rarely used it. So I thought, I'm sure we can get in there cheap. That'll be perfect, you know. So I wrote this scene that was supposed to be in the plane. So basically, they sort of, you know, they sort of drop something in someone's bag, etc. There's this scene in a plane, and then when we went to do it, we realised that Fox had got rid of the plane because no one was using it. Instead of being in a plane and the switch happens there, that actually happens in a toilet before they go through customs, which isn't as exciting, but it still works in the context of the story. But yeah, it would have been better in a plane.
Yeah,
I agree.
I remember Lowell and I were ringing up like airlines for simulators, for host, everything.
I probably cried at the time. So.
Yes. Joe helped us immensely through production as well, because we fundamentally had such a skeleton crew. I know with the credits it looked like there was a lot of people.
Like thousands.
Yeah.
Like a cast of thousands.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Joe was the backbone as well. We worked as a big team, but it was actually quite a small team in the end, because we just had to get it done.
But that's the beauty of feature filmmaking, is that everyone chips in, you know, like even if you're the guy that's meant to be doing the lights, it's like, well, if you need to go and can you get the food for us because we're not going to eat, you're like, well, okay, I can do that. You know, it's not like a regular job where people just go, well, that's not my job, forget about it. Everyone sort of chips in and makes it happen, because everyone's creative talent ends up being on the screen, so everyone does their absolute best to make it happen. So.
Well, you know, you end up starting to lose things because of budget, and I just hung on desperately. I think it was like $500. Was it $500 to $1,000? I can't remember what it was, but whatever the crane shot was, it was like just have the crane shot at the beginning. So, which is nice, because you know I have a belief that, you know, how you set your film up is how people, you know, buy into it and remember it. I mean, so. You know, once you start with a big crane shot, and people go, "Oh, okay." You know, you start with it locked off on sticks in the kitchen, and then people have a very different perspective of what the film is. So,
it was a great establishing shot for us.
Yeah.
It nearly killed me, but it was a great shot.
It was worth it. Yeah.
I had to make lots of rich black coffee for Walt, the grip guy who actually owned the crane.
See, coffee is the key to all filmmaking. Yeah, obviously we're doing it because we love it and we think it's a good project, and we can do it as a team. You know, like we work well as a team, and you know, I think for our budget we've got far more bang for our buck than, you know, a lot of other people could have. You know, I mean, you see a lot of independent films that don't even get across the line for, you know, $500,000, $1 million. You know, so. You know, so I think it's testament to us as a team that we're able to get it across the line. It might have taken longer than we expected, but we still got it across the line, and we have a product that I think we're all proud of. And, you know, for the rest of our lives, we'll remember this as a very special moment. So, you know, and that's important. This is the first time we've played in Europe, so this is technically our European premiere, so which is nice. So, yeah,
especially in Berlin.
Yeah, especially in Berlin. Berlin's a great city.
That was the hardest part for me, I think, for this whole team, was having Lyle on the other side of the world, Shane on the other side of the world, and Jackie on the other side of the world. And, you know, teeing up times that we all had the right time.
Skype was a nightmare.
Thank goodness for Skype, though.
Yeah.
Which does indicate that there was no way that this film was going to be made without you being in Australia and doing everything that you did, because it wouldn't have happened.
Oh, mate. Look, to be honest, I will say this. I've said it so many times. Never do a film when everyone's, like, your whole team's on the different side of the world. But now that we're here and that we've finished it, like, I have so many people in the industry and that are really good mates as well, that you go to uni with, or you know, even go to school with, and they say, oh, we've got it in development. And they talk about this all the time, don't they? And they never finish it. They never get it across that line. And yeah, now I say, I'd love to do another job, another project with these guys, even though we're on the other different side of the world. It'd be great.
Few filmmakers ever go, oh, I've actually got the budget I want. I think everyone's always having to make, you know, creative decisions to move around what they're trying to do. So obviously when you're at the lower budget end of the spectrum, it's hard when you're making bigger choices around that, and you're making more compromises. And effectively what you're trying to do is keep your vision whole, and so that that your vision's not compromised on screen, even though there are compromises constantly every day swirling around you that you're trying to have to make. So you're constantly working within a very, very tight constraint to try to keep your vision alive. And at the end of the day, all person I ever have is the premise. So when things start to fall apart, as long as I have a strong premise and that one sentence, that one idea I'm trying to get across an audience, you can at least hold on to that and pull back to that. So that's, I just hold on to that premise and try to get across the line because I believe in that premise. Makes sense.
Thanks.